Hello, everybody. How's everybody going? How's everybody doing? Okay. All right, you guys. Well, hopefully everybody's being safe out there. Um, People are just jumping in right now. Just let me let everybody kind of jump in. I'll probably start like in a minute or so, just to let pretty much everybody that's gonna join just be part of the video. Okay. Um, how's all that homework going? Any fun stuff that you guys are trying out from home right now? No? All right. All right, you guys, so you're not gonna see me much. I'm here, but I could actually, those of you who have the video turned on, I could see you. If you have your audio turned on, I could hear you. We're gonna have questions every once in a while, but you guys might wanna wait on those questions. Just whenever we're kind of at that point, just let me know and we could just discuss what we're working on and so forth. Or if you guys don't understand anything, please let me know, okay? Today is gonna be mostly drawing. Last class, we finished up our fruit painting. Those of you who are working on that, if you guys have not completed that, or if you guys don't have acrylics, you guys could use mediums that work a little similar, like oil pastels. But if you guys have acrylics, then you guys could just, do the whole acrylic stuff. If you missed a class, you could always go and check it out on the Google Classroom, okay? All the videos are posted, usually about an hour after they are kind of live streamed, okay? So I guess we'll go ahead and get started. I don't know if you guys took a look. We already have the reference on Google Classroom. It's actually a still life of a plush bunny. And we're gonna talk about it and see how you guys do with this, okay? So let's go ahead and get started. All right, if you guys are working from home, some people like to work from home, some people don't. They just like to watch the video and then they wanna replay the video. That's perfectly okay with me, okay? But if you're working from home, I recommend that you guys have a hard pencil and a B pencil. I am just gonna use my B pencil, okay? The reason why I'm using my B pencil is that you guys cannot see my hard pencil. It's too light, all right? If you're at home, use the hard pencil. But me, I'll be using the soft pencil just to make this very, very visible, all right? So here we go, you guys. As we start many of our sessions, what we're gonna do first is I'm gonna do a little frame around my artwork, okay? Make sure it's small. It doesn't take a big chunk of your drawing. Our drawing is square though, so I'm gonna make sure that my frame is kind of square looking, okay? The paper that I'm using, you guys, because I'm using acrylic, just like we left off in class, I'm actually using bristle paper, and bristle paper is really thick. If you guys don't have bristle paper, you might have watercolor paper. If you guys don't have watercolor paper and you guys are just drawing with oil pastels, any paper is fine, okay? But if you guys are gonna use a wet medium like watercolor or acrylic, it has to be a thicker paper. If not, it's gonna start ripping after some time, all right? So here we go. So I have a frame around my artwork. You guys could see it pretty much here. And the first part is drawing this little guy, okay? This little guy is actually quite simple, but at the same time, it's gonna be a little complex, okay? This is more traditional drawing, so we're still gonna be building up the shading and the values that we were using last time, okay? Let me admit somebody else. There we go. And let's go ahead and get started. So once we have this frame, I'm gonna do just a little horizontal line. Where you guys do this little line, it doesn't matter as long as it's below halfway. It could be a quarter of the way, it could be a third of the way, but if you guys just wanna make it easy, just do it somewhere below halfway in the bottom of your paper, okay? That's gonna make it quite easy. All right, so here we go. All right. At this step, don't do anything. If you guys are drawing, it's okay, but just make sure that you observe first, okay? Because we need to figure out where this bunny is gonna go. And if you guys just do a random circle anywhere, his hand might not fit, his body might not fit. So just make sure that you guys hold on tight. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna do a circle off to the right side of the picture, okay? If you wanted to do a bigger bunny, you guys could definitely do a bigger bunny. I'm gonna make it kind of like the picture. So this here, that's gonna be the body or the mass of the bunny itself. Now, for the head, I'm gonna do an oval, but don't forget that this oval overlaps, okay? There's a little overlap happening right here between this and this, all right? Make sure that you guys do that overlap. Now, let's see how much space we need to the right-hand side. So to the right-hand side, I'm gonna just throw a little line here in the bottom. That's gonna be his leg. And then I'm gonna do a little oval, and that's gonna be his foot, okay? It's not very long because it's actually coming at us. It's not going that way. It's not going to the right. It's actually coming towards us. So it's actually quite short. And once you guys do that, you guys are gonna need some space for the ear. And on the left side, it's gonna be kind of the same information, but this leg is actually going to the left. So I'm gonna do the little leg right here. Then I'm gonna go ahead and do my little oval, okay? So this leg is a little longer, not because it's longer, but it's because it's sideways, all right? And I'm gonna do my little arm, which is just like a big teardrop or like a backwards J, whatever you guys wanna see it. The regular J would be this way, but it's a J this way. And I'm gonna do the right arm too. So there's a lot of overlaps, you guys. I want you guys to actually see this, okay? This arm overlaps the middle of the body. This arm overlaps this middle part of the body too. The head overlaps the body, okay? There's a lot of overlaps going on right now, and that's actually really good. Overlap is the first illusion of 3D, okay? So remember, you guys wanna start making things look 3D, make sure that you guys work on the overlap. So once we're done with this, this is the big shape of the bunny. Don't make it dark though, because this is not the finished bunny. I just want the bunny to fit somewhere around here, all right? But remember, don't make it darker. If you guys are gonna make it darker, that means that you guys are committing. And if you guys are committing, that means that what you see is what you get, okay? If you guys keep it light, then you guys still could change or fix any of this, of the drawing or any of the things going on. So just go ahead, you guys, and make this 3 shapes. Well, first we need our horizontal line, followed by the body that's almost in the middle, but it's off to the right-hand side. Then we're gonna make the little leg over here. We're gonna make the little arm over here. This looks like a J here as well. We're gonna make the head that was already done over here, the ears, and the stuff on the left-hand side. Always start with your biggest shapes. Start with your body, head, and then everything that comes afterwards, okay? So go ahead, you guys. If you guys are drawing, go ahead and draw and just show me what you guys get. I'm just gonna wait like 2 minutes. If you guys are not drawing, that's okay. But if you guys are drawing, make sure that you guys show me your drawing, okay? I like that, I see a background that looks all like space. That's pretty cool. It's a really cool background. Who's drawing? All right, let me see that drawing. That looks okay. You're drawing it vertically. Are you using a heavier paper? Just make sure your guys' paper is a little heavy. If not, don't use any wet mediums, okay? But the drawing itself looks pretty good. I like it. All right, is everybody kind of done with their little guy? All right, if you guys are done, I'm gonna move on to the next step, okay? All right, so here we go. So now that we have the big information, we are gonna go ahead and we're gonna start working on our detail, okay? So the most important thing when working on detail, or the first thing, is figure out where the center of the bunny is and how you guys should draw that, okay? The center of the bunny has to do wherever you guys do your grid line. So what I'm gonna do here, my bunny's looking straight at us, but the face has a little tilt. So I'm gonna do a little diagonal line right here. I'm gonna make it a little darker. I'm actually gonna trace mine with Sharpie later, that way you guys could see. You guys do not wanna trace with Sharpie, okay? I just want you guys to see this stuff. And I'm gonna do a little kind of arrow shape. That's the line of his sights. So that's gonna be where his eyes go, all right? So just like a little V shape. Once I have that, I'm gonna go ahead and do the snout area, which is quite large, by the way. Remember, it's a plush bunny. It's like a kind of teddy bear bunny. Well, it's not a bear, but it's a plush bunny. And once I do the big snout, I'm gonna do two really small circles on the left and on the right hand side. Okay, that's gonna be where his eyes are gonna go. And I'm gonna do just like a little triangle for the nose, okay? I think the right eye is a little too far to the right, so I'm just gonna push it in a little bit, okay? Who of you guys did the avocado and the apple? Anybody? No? That was a pretty good exercise. So you guys could actually go back and kind of have fun with that. It's a really, really good exercise to work on, okay? So once I have the face, I'm gonna do just a little bit of sideburns on him, or just a little bit of hair that goes off to the right-hand side, okay? All right. He has a double chin, so I'm gonna make sure that I do that little double chin. Almost makes him look a little plushier, a little chubbier, okay? So the double chin is good, all right? So his head is pretty much there. I mean, there's not, it's a bunny. It's a toy. It's not a real bunny, but it is a real object. It's just a toy form of it, okay? Now, when I work on the arms and the hands here, I guess it's just arms because I don't see any fingers. I want to make sure that I do a little uneven edge. I want to make this look like it's actually furry, or like it has texture. So instead of doing a perfectly straight line like this, I'm actually doing a broken, uneven line like that, okay? So I'm trying to make it look a little bit more furry rather than this perfect shape. All right, so that's pretty good. Now I'm gonna do the foot over here, or the leg, sorry, on this side. Now, this leg, I actually don't have to trace this part because the arm is overlapping this part. I only have to trace from here outwards. And I don't know if you guys remember that we're not really tracing. We are what we call contouring. So we're implied tracing. Okay. Here we go. So the left side of the bunny is there, except the ear. I'm gonna go ahead and make the ear just a little bit more defined, somewhere around here, okay? The left side is good, I like it. You guys, if you need to erase anything, you can. I don't need my grids anymore. I usually don't like to erase them, but just for you guys not to get confused, I'm gonna get rid of some of my grid lines here. They serve their purpose, okay? Their purpose was to tell us where the eyes went and where the face looks, so they did their part. Okay, so the left side is all good. Little plush bunnies there. If you guys look at the image on the Google Classroom, you'll see that he looks very similar to this little guy. All right, so he's a toy, so not all the features are even, like they are more on real objects. So this arm is actually going in a little bit, and then this arm is actually overlapped by the right leg. And I don't know if you've noticed, those of you guys who are looking at the image here, look how high my right leg went. So it was wrong at the beginning, and I understood that it was wrong, so I didn't have to commit to it. Don't forget, if things are not right, there's no need to commit to it. You guys could actually change them. That's why we're drawing so light at the beginning, and then darkening up your drawing later. All Okay, so here we go. So this arm now is behind the actual leg and the foot here. So I actually don't have to trace it anymore. And just gonna push this in. This ear, to me, I like the ear, but it looks a little too large. So I'm gonna bring it in a little bit. So look at how far in I brought it. And it's okay because I'm not committing to my drawing. And if I were drawing in the studio and you guys were actually seeing what I was drawing, I would probably be drawing a lot lighter than what I'm doing now. But I actually want you guys to observe and see everything pretty nicely from home, okay? So, that's it. So when you guys have this, your bunny is pretty much all ready to go. So don't forget, head first because it has a lot of details. Then try to do the shapes that are overlapping, okay? So we did this one first, and then we did the leg. On this side, we did the leg first, and then the arm, and then the ears are overlapped by everything. So you could do the ears later, all right? But let me know when you guys are finished with your drawing. If you guys are drawing already, just make sure that you guys let me see your picture. So now that we know that we need our highlight, midtones, core, and cast shadow, let's see if the light comes from the front left. I'm gonna do a little jaggedy line here that goes on the right hand side, okay? The reason why it's on the right hand side is that shadows are always opposite of light, and I'm gonna gently hatch in the same direction. I'm not gonna be doing cross hatching. I'm just gonna be doing hatching, okay? That's it, okay? So that is the core shadow. In here, we have a little highlight. I'm just gonna draw it very lightly inside here, okay? That's gonna be my highlights, all right? So that's pretty good for my arm. And everything is gonna have this kind of thinking. So here, we're gonna have another core shadow, which goes over here. And then I'm just gonna hatch it in. Gonna hatch this guy in right here. And I don't know if you guys noticed the picture. There's actually the window siding or the window frame is casting a shadow in this room here. And when this thing casts a shadow on here, this thing actually wraps around. So this is a cast shadow from the window on the bunny itself. So this guy's a little unique. He wouldn't happen if we didn't have this shadow here. But since we have this cast shadow from outside, look at my pencil. You see how my pencil is casting a shadow on my picture? That's what the frame of the window's doing, okay? So I'm just gonna go ahead and gently hatch this. And one of the things we're gonna be doing is practicing your hatching, you guys. If your hatching is cross hatching, that's not good. Remember, we have to practice our hatching, okay? It's really important that we get really good at hatching, all right? So I'll let you guys take a look at this little thing here and try to get all that information in, because I'm gonna move very fast onto the rest of the picture, okay? So if you guys, remember, you guys could still slow down, take a look at the reference. I'm gonna pause myself for a little bit and I'll let you guys catch up on this, okay? So this little heel here casts a shadow on the foot. Or the heel casts a shadow on the leg. I think that's the leg part. And then the leg, being a cylinder, just has a shadow by itself, just because it's a cylinder. So the simple shapes that I'm looking at here, for the leg, I'm just doing a little cylinder like this, and half of it is darker. And for the arms and the head and the ears, I'm just looking at a little oval like this, and I'm making this part darker. If you guys understand those two very basic and simple shapes, it makes a lot more sense. If we're not understanding those two basic shapes, it might be a little bit more difficult, but always keep me, ask questions. So here, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do the cast shadow of the bunny's head and the right-hand side of my bunny over here. I'm just gonna go ahead and do it a little dark, all right? All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and go back to my good old hatching. So that is my head casting a shadow on the body. And this one here, that's the cast shadow, that's, sorry, my core shadow of the body itself. All right, so always looking for both kinds of shadows. All right. All right. That looks pretty good. So the bunny has a shadow on the right-hand side. But now let's look at this one. This one's pretty fun, actually. The leg here casts a shadow on the stomach itself, on the little belly. So I'm gonna do another shadow that's just divided by this line here. All right, that looks pretty good. So I got one ear, I got one arm, I got one leg, and I have the body. All right, we're trying to do the big stuff first, okay? The simple stuff. I don't want to go straight into the face because the face might be a little bit more challenging because it has a little bit more details, but we'll just try to use the thing at a time, okay? So now this cylinder here that we'll call the right leg and the right foot, it has a shadow on the right hand side, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna value the right hand side of the foot. It's like a little circle. All right. I'm just gonna do a little shadow right here. This was just a little hole in the sewing of the bunny. So it's not really an important shadow, but I mean, it's a plush bunny, so it does have that shadow, okay? So now, on the right arm and the right arm, right hand area, we have a cast shadow of the head. This is the head on the body. And then we have the core shadow of the right hand and the right arm, okay? So remember, it's one shadow, two shadows. So it's two different shadows on the same object. A cast shadow and a core shadow. All right, I can see the light at the end of this tunnel because we're getting there little by little. All right, now let's go on to the face. So the face is gonna have a little core shadow here, and it's gonna have a little core shadow here. It actually has a brow. This little guy has a little brow. So it actually has a dark shadow that goes in this area. And now we're gonna be able to do the cast shadow. Does everybody understand the difference between cast and core shadow? Yeah? So the core shadow, if we don't remember, is the shadow of an object. So that would be this shadow on my arm here. Okay, it's the left shadow. That's my core shadow. My cast shadow is that shadow that my hand here is throwing on the drawing board. So one of them is a cast. Think about like a spell. I'm casting a spell. That's the one that something casts on something else. And then one of them is a core, okay? So there's two different types of shadows, all right? So once we have this, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna hatch, and I'm just hatching in one direction. Remember, I'm trying to keep my drawing really clean. All right, hatch, that looks pretty good. Gonna hatch a little bit on the snout. All right, here we go. And finally, let's finish up the right ear. So this is the cast shadow of the head on the right ear, and this is the core shadow of the right ear itself. That looks pretty basic 3D, okay? So we have what a stencil artist would use between a light and a dark, okay? So we just have a bigger light left sides and bigger dark right sides, okay? That's just the basic information that we need. So now this bunny has mass too. So this little guy has a mass. So he's gonna cast a shadow on the board in the back, and that shadow is going to change in directions, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and do a little cast shadow here. All right. Cast shadow one out of the way. Oops. Oh yeah, that's all right. Cast shadow one out of the way, and cast shadow two out of the way. All right. Really basic. Just remember, big drawing. Some students have actually told me like, oh, I like to keep my drawing this way. Why do we have to paint it? If you guys want to keep the drawing this way, you guys could keep a drawing, particularly if you guys are not using the same mediums. You guys could do a pretty good drawing and just keep it very basic. Just keep it like a really nice hatching drawing. But if you guys have the acrylic mediums and you guys actually want to build this up, it is meant to be built up, okay? All right, so we're almost done with the drawing. The next part is gonna actually be quite simple. So there's a cast shadow from, again, the room from the outside, just kind of going outside over here, and then it's coming over here. So I'm just gonna hatch this little cast shadow right here very quickly. It's the background, it's not that important. And I'm gonna hatch this one over here. Okay. Pretty good. All right, so final step before we go on to the acrylic process. This is gonna be actually quite simple. It looks hard, but it's actually gonna be quite simple. I'm gonna map my lightest highlights. So I'm doing really simple tracing here. I'm doing really simple tracing here. I'm doing really simple tracing on the forehead. Like I said, this little guy has a brow. So I'm doing a little simple tracing on the brow, on the snout, on his chin, on his belly. So he has a belly here. On his leg, or his foot. Okay, and a little one over here on his right foot, and two little bumps right here, one little one here, and last one here. So what I'm gonna do, if you guys want just to keep this as a really nice drawing, I'm gonna hatch everything else except these highlights, but I'm not gonna hatch as heavy, okay? So I'm hatching on here, but I'm hatching more soft. And I'm even going over my shadow again. And I'm just leaving that highlight as my lightest value. So this would actually give you a really nice drawing if you guys did not want to use the acrylic paint. I know that some of you guys might not have access to acrylic paint. That is why we're trying not to use that, okay? If you don't have access to it. All right, the phone is ringing, but we can't answer. All right. So we have some hatching here. We have some hatching here. And the face actually has a lot of hatching. But be careful, don't just hatch indiscriminately, okay? Make sure you guys are careful where you guys are hatching. So when you're hatching the face, try to make sure to hatch a single thing at a time. So hatch the left snout only, okay? Hatch the right snout only. Hatch the forehead only. Hatch the brow area only. And this is going to keep a lot of order to your drawing. All right. And if you're done with all this big hatching, we're pretty much ready to use the acrylic, and we'll discuss that. If you are going to continue to draw this and not acrylic this, I would push in your shadows, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do this for your core shadows, just because I know some of you guys, like I said, might not be able to acrylic this. So I'm just going to hatch the deepest shadows in at this point. So this is just to keep a really nice drawing. For the acrylic, this is not necessary. It's better to have than to not have, but it's not that necessary. So now I'm doing my darkest shadow here. All right. Basically, I'm working all my corners in, and then I'm just working my line out. So I'm starting on all these little corners, like this one here, this corner here. I'm starting really heavy there. And after I start heavy there, I work my value out. I work my value out. I work my value out. And little by little, this bunny looks more finished than not. All right. All right, that looks pretty good. So my little bunny is all ready to go for my acrylic paint. I'm going to darken my shadow here for those of you who are drawing. All right. And the background should be a little darker than the bunny itself, because the bunny is whitish gray. So again, there's a lot of color on white because the room has color, but in reality, he's kind of whitish gray. So make sure that, you know, the background is brown, the background is green. So make sure that has a tad bit more color. All right, so that's it. That looks like a pretty fun bunny. Again, the drawing is pretty good. The drawing is going to take time, you guys. I almost didn't stop, and my drawing took me close to 40 minutes without me really stopping. So if you guys need extra time, by all means, take that extra time, okay? You guys want to make sure that you guys have a really nice drawing before you guys start to paint, because you might actually do a really nice painting to a very fast, not well done drawing, and you might like it, you might not like it at the end. Just make sure that you guys take your time with your drawing, right? And if you guys are doing the acrylic, but you only want to watch today, you know, you could probably watch the whole video in an hour and a half. Once the next session is done, I'll probably upload it by then. So right now you guys could, you know, start acrylic with me, or you guys could just take a little kind of break and just observe what I'm doing, and we can go from there, okay? So what I'm gonna use for my acrylic, remember, I'm using things that you guys can find at home. So this is just pretty much just a paper plate that I'm just reusing and reusing, always mixing my colors together. And today, we're just gonna use two colors. I'm just gonna use a blue that I have, which in this case is a phthalo blue. You guys could use a French ultramarine, you guys could use a cerulean blue, basically any blue is fine. And I'm gonna use a burnt sienna, which is a brown. You guys could use any brown that you have, okay? Basically what we want is a warm and a cold. That's all we want, okay? So I'm gonna squeeze a little bit onto my picture here, onto my, sorry, my palette or my plate. I'm gonna squeeze a little bit onto my plate here. Oh, look, the plate is casting a shadow on my paper. That's pretty cool. All right. All right. And you guys are gonna need brushes. And again, I prefer flat brushes, but they're less common. So I'm just gonna go ahead and use my round brushes. All right. Any what? Sorry?
We just asked what type of blue.
Any blue that you have. So most sets, if you have a basic set, it just comes with one blue, but pretty much French ultramarine blue would work. I have cobalt on mine. There's also cerulean blue on some of the sets. There's phthalo blue, but any blue that comes in your set should be fine. And any brown. Like my set comes with 2 browns. It comes with a raw umber, which is this one here, and it comes with a burnt sienna. Raw umber is too close to black, so I don't like to use that because it's almost what I'm gonna end up making. I prefer a little bit more of a brownish color.
Is this brown good?
What's the name on there?
Gold. It says gold, but it's not really gold.
Is it raw sienna?
Oh, I don't think it's okay.
Yeah, it could be yellow ochre. If it looks like gold, it could be yellow ochre, or there's a couple of colors that look golden. I would try to use anything. What's that one? I think that'll work. It's gonna give you a little bit of a green, but that's okay. If it gives you a little bit of a green, it's okay.
For the browns, do you need a burnt sienna or raw sienna? Which one is better?
Do you have both?
Yes.
Use burnt sienna. Raw sienna is too cold.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you have both, use burnt sienna.
Picking up the paint. Okay. Yeah, it's online.
Raw sienna has that little golden look to it, kind of like golden brown. You might get too many greens from there. All right, let me know when you guys are ready. And remember, cup with water, super necessary. Round brushes. I have my flats because I really like flats, but I might not use it if you guys don't have them. But most of you should have a round. So I'm gonna for sure use my round. And paper towel, okay? I have my paper towels over here. And if you guys let your paper towels dry, I mean, I know there's a little scarce of paper towels right now. So if you guys just let these dry outside, you guys can reuse them. You know, it's just gonna be water today. All right, you guys. So I'm gonna start the example. I might actually, you know, go like it might take me like 5 to 10 minutes. I don't want to take too long because I want you to do this, and I want to take a look at your bunny when you guys are done with this step right now. So if you guys like your bunny, tell your parents to take a photo of it because we're gonna loose it a little bit. All right. If you guys don't mind the photo, then just don't take a photo. But we are gonna manipulate this a little bit. All right. So you guys could just pay attention here. You guys don't have to do it with me. That way you guys get a feeling of what we have to be working with, okay? So my 2 colors here, my burnt sienna and my cobalt blue here, they'll actually, if I go on the warm side, it'll give me a neutral brown. If I go on the cool side, it'll give me a neutral gray. If I go too much on one side, it might start giving me a little bit of a green or a reddish color. Or if I just go too much on the blue side, it's just gonna give me a pretty deep blue, okay? So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna turn down my burnt sienna a little bit. So I'm gonna add a lot of water, you guys. This is like watercolor. This is like watercolor class, okay? It's not heavy acrylic yet. If you guys saw the other video, you guys would remember that the first layer was actually quite warm, okay? So once I mix those two colors together, still on the brown side, all right? So that's kind of like a color right here. Still on the brown side. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna coat my entire picture. And again, you guys could, yeah, if you guys have flats, to be honest with you, I prefer flats myself, but most sets don't come with flats, but I really like flats.
We can have flats.
Yes, you guys could use
I
flats.
have flats.
Yeah, right now flats are, you know, flats are nicer when you actually start painting. But remember, I'm going over my whole thing right now, so my round is good enough, you know. Right now, it's not quintessential that we pick the right brush. Right now, we just need a lot of water, and we need to block this thing. All right. So I'm just coating the whole thing. I mean, I'm not stopping along the way. And I don't want to do 2 layers. 1 layer is all we need, okay?
Yeah, it's gold. It's fine if there's a little gold in it, but it's more.
Yeah, if you don't have a burnt sienna or a brown, theoretically a brown is a muddy orange. So you could make the brown in a different ways. If you have the raw sienna, you could use the raw sienna and the blue. But if you have raw sienna, you might want to add a little bit of red to your palette. So the raw sienna and the red will give you that orangey looking color, kind of like this one. And then the blue will make it a little ugly, okay?
So we have to add red.
So there's a lot of options. If you guys, while you guys are doing this, let me show you. These are more complicated options, but let's say you guys don't have orange, okay? Let's say you guys only have like a yellow and a red, right? So this is more complex, but let's imagine this. Let's imagine this is the case. So if you guys only have this colors here, first I would want to make a red orange. So red with yellow. And I mix a lot of colors though, so I'm pretty good at this. All right. And then I want to add a little blue to it. And all of a sudden, I have pretty much that exact same thing. Okay, so if worse comes to worse, and you guys don't have a brown, you could still make a brown by mixing orange with a little blue, okay? Make sure your orange has a little bit more red. This is harder, I know this is harder, but it's not impossible. I mean, if you just have the 3 primaries, you could pretty much mix everything, all right? So yeah, so if you guys don't have a brown, make your own brown, make your own orange. A brown is just a muddy orange, and then just add blue to it, okay? So if you guys had the raw sienna is more like a yellow, and then you guys would just add a tiny bit of red to it, and then some blue, and then you have a brown again. All right. So you guys could go ahead and take your time. I don't want you guys to rush in this point, but now I'm gonna make my color that's a little bit on the blue side, still has some burnt sienna, but this time just a little bit more blue. Later on, we'll actually use a green. Today, we're not too concerned about using a green. We want a cool color more than an actual green right now. Then I'm gonna go very light and watery, just on my table surface. And remember, I had already gone over with the brown. So now at least we have blue and brown. We no longer have just brown. So I'll take a little pause here. I'll let you guys catch up. Remember, the first thing was just a little bit of a neutral brown with a lot of water, and I covered the whole entire thing, okay? And then the second step is just blue with a lot of water and cover just the table surface. And have fun. You guys are gonna have the videos too, so there's no need to rush. Again, it's so much like I have to emphasize that because there's no need to rush. You guys could later on just go back into your Google Classroom, check the video again, check the video again. If you guys need to try it once, twice, 3 times at home, right now you can, okay? And because you guys are using acrylic brushes, make sure you guys dump them in your water when you guys are done, because if not, the acrylic brush will ruin your brush. And actually, when we're finished with the session, you want to make sure you go to your sink and you wash them with soap and water, because if not, they're going to go stiff like rocks, okay? And there's nothing we can do after that. Once they're stiff as rocks, they're stiff as rocks. Are you guys all done with this step?
Not yet.
Okay. I think the last step I'll be able to do, but then you guys have to do it without me on the camera because I'm gonna have to do the other session. But you guys could actually do the next step once the session is over. It's actually pretty easy. I'll show you right now. You guys could work with this after I'm finished with mine, and I'm also going to answer any questions that you guys might have, and then I'll let you guys have fun with this, okay? Like I said, if you guys have some extra questions or you just want to see the video again, it'll be up in a few minutes. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm not going to make my color darker, okay? This is really important. Painting mediums work with layers. They actually don't work by making the color too much more dark. It's just a different layer. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna make the same blue and brown, a little bit on the blue side, and I'm just gonna make my core shadows a little darker, okay? And remember, I didn't have to make my color dark. That's really important that we understand. It's just a second layer that is making my actual bear dark. But it's not that I actually needed to make something darker. It's just the fact that it's my second layer. That's why I didn't want you to do 2 layers on the brown. I didn't want you to do 2 layers on the blue, because the second layer serves the purpose of a shadow itself. So here we go. All right. So I did my shadow on my ground. Now I'm gonna mix more brown instead of blue, but a little neutral still. So this one's gonna be more brown, and I'm gonna do my core shadows, my cast shadows outside of my bunny. Okay. So basically we're trying to understand big lights and big darks. That's it. Last time we were just working with circles on our first project. In this project, we're working with circles and cylinders, okay? So last time it was just circles versus now, circles and cylinders. Okay. And once I'm done with the big cast shadows outside of this, I'm gonna start focusing on my bunny And I'm just gonna make my color just a little bit more orange, less blue. All right, and I'm just gonna fill in those core and cast shadows that we did in the first session, or in the first part of the session today. So now we're just gonna have exactly what we did with the drawing, but just with color. All right.
Jose?
Yeah. Any questions?
So, like, I don't have I kind of, like, messed up my picture.
Yeah, in what way?
So I thought it was just, like, normal watercolor, but, like, then it started taking out really dark.
Oh, so you need to add a lot of water to it. So you could still
No, it's oil paint.
Oh, it's oil paint.
Oil.
Okay.
Yeah. So, like, yeah.
Do you have any canvas at home by any chance? Do you have any canvas?
No.
No? Okay. So what you want to do is you could redo the drawing, because oil painting, you need different mediums. Oil painting, you do not want to use water. You actually want to use oil. So you want to use an oil called linseed oil and an oil called terpenoid or mineral spirit, okay? So water will not work with your oil. So if you don't have acrylics, we could restart the drawing at home. Just make sure that we use the other medium when you have a chance, because oil does not work the same way, and it definitely does not work with water. So we definitely have to use a whole different medium for that, okay? Do you have, you don't have any acrylics or watercolor?
I don't have watercolor, but
okay.
What do I do with
So watercolor would react a lot closer to what we're using than oils will. So if you wanted to try a different medium that's not acrylic, because you might not have acrylic, I would recommend watercolor, okay? Oil, do you have any oils for your oil paints?
No.
No, so see, that's a little problem, because oil paint needs oils to get thinned down. If not, they're super chunky. So yes, one thing I would recommend is don't do too much to this. It's not gonna work with water. And when you have a chance, let's do the same thing with watercolor, okay? That would be the next medium that works really close to acrylics. Do you think you could do this again with watercolor?
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, I think your drawing was pretty good, but yeah, there's unfortunately nothing I can do about that oil. That oil is just oil. It's the way the medium is. I do teach some open oil sessions. If you actually log into your Google Classroom, I put up a video today of how to do your pet with oil paintings, but you still need the mediums. You still need the mineral spirits. If not, it's not gonna work, okay? But you could still take a look at the video. And if you guys have a chance to order that, you could also do some of the oil session, as well as some of the drawing sessions that I post on there. All right, you guys. So this is pretty much it for your first layer of the acrylic watercolor. If you're gonna do this in watercolor, or if you're gonna do this with just a pencil, I mean, this is gonna be just the first layer. We have the base shadows and we have the base lights. We have the base color. We have colors that are either warm or cool. So next time we should really, really make this little guy look very finished and very, very real, okay? I'm actually showing you guys how to mix colors. I'm trying to help you guys how to do all these very complicated midtones, which are really not that complicated if we approach them the right way. But right now, this is pretty much what we're expecting. And in the next session, we'll start